Okay, it's 6:30. At this time, I'd like to call to order the Administrative Services Committee meeting for July 2nd, 2018. Please call the roll.
Counselor Corradino.
Here.
Counselor DeMassey.
Here.
Counselor Hill.
Here.
Counselor Tesserero.
Here.
Counselor Wilmot.
Here. I'd like a motion to approve the minutes of the June 18th, 2018 committee meetings. Counselor Tesoriero, Counselor Wilmot.
Counselor Corradino.
Yes.
Counselor DeMassey.
Yes.
Counselor Hill.
Yes.
Counselor Tesserero.
Yes.
Counselor Wilmot.
Yes. Is there any old business to discuss at this committee? Seeing none, moving right along to new business. Item number 1, Nancy Stereo, Personnel Director, requests approval of the standard workdays for appointed and elected officials for reporting to the New York State and local employees retirement system. Stereo?
Council, you have to do that because the vehicle have the handout, what it has. I did not put personal identifying information on it. So I'm going to give this to you because this is what we actually will need to vote on next week. So rather than put it where the public has access to your information, I'm doing it this way. I'll do the same with the resolutions for next week.
All right, thank you.
What this is from is the logs that I asked you to generate for March, April, and May. This is the information. We do an analysis of it, come up with a monthly average for you, and we have to report this information to the New York State retirement system.
All right, very good. Everybody take a look at their attachments and their paper copies. Anybody have any questions for Nancy? Pretty cut and dry. Can I have a motion, please?
Tom, do you have a question?
Oh.
Or Ron?
Oh,
There's something wrong with mine, but I will have you correct it. Social Security number,
It's only the last 4 digits. Are they
Yeah.
incorrect?
wrong, incorrect.
Will you come and see me later,
Yes,
and I'll
I
make
will.
sure we get that correct?
Yes, I will.
It might be wrong in our system, too. So.
Okay, thank you.
I guess that's a good idea. Make sure everybody's last 4 numbers of the social are correct.
That would be helpful for me.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
About, can we have a motion? Counselor Hill? Counselor DeMassey?
Counselor Corradino.
Yes.
Counselor DeMassey.
Yes.
Counselor Hill.
Yes.
Counselor Tesserero.
Yes.
Counselor Wilmot.
Yes.
And we need a resolution.
Yes, Nancy, a resolution, please.
I believe the resolution is already in the system. It's just that it's the one without that additional information, with the personal identifying information. I will give you both resolutions Monday night. 'Cause
Very good.
I don't want your personal...
Put Nancy
information.
down for that one.
Yeah.
That's a short answer. Item number 2, Nancy C. Stereo, Personnel Director, requests approval to establish the standard workday for certain positions for New York State and local retirement system reporting purposes.
Again, New York State retirement says that every position in city government or any kind of municipal government has to have, each position has to have a standard workday. Most of our union contracts specify it, but they all do not. And we have several positions that are non-union positions. So when we were going through getting the elected officials' logs together, I said we need to look at and make sure we've got all the titles. So the resolution that is on there should show you the titles that we need to add that have been created or changed since the last time we updated those titles.
Very good. Any questions for Nancy? Seeing none, can I have a motion? Counselor DeMassey, Counselor Wilmot.
Counselor Corradino.
Yes.
Counselor DeMassey.
Yes.
Counselor Hill.
Yes.
Counselor Tesserero.
Yes.
Counselor Wilmot.
Yes. Next item. New SRO agreement between Oswego City School District and the City of Oswego, New York. This is from the Chief of Police, I see. I am respectfully requesting that Mayor William J. Barlow Jr. be authorized to enter into an agreement with the Oswego City School District for providing up to 2 school resource officers in accordance with the provisions outlined in the attached agreement. The new agreement will commence on September 1st, 2018, and continue through June 30th, 2019. I would appreciate your consideration of this matter. Thank you. Sincerely, Tori L. DeCare, Chief of Police. Chief?
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you. This is a renewal from the contract that we do every year for the school resource officers. A couple of updates. First is the appendix, which updates the salaries from the old contract to the new contract. And the second, and probably more interesting, is the change of the wording from 1 to up to 2. That request came from the district. They right now are willing to contract for still the 1, but they're not sure if a second SRO is going to fit into their overall school safety plan. But we want to be prepared if that did. So that kind of leads into my second request, would say for certifying that second SRO. But for right now, they want the 1, but the ability to have the contract for up to 2.
All right. And this is an agreement we've had with the school district for years.
Yep, several years, yeah.
Okay. Any questions for the chief? Yes.
This is something we get reimbursed for?
Yes. The final appendix of the agreement actually quotes out the different prices that we get. In essence, we get reimbursed for 10 months that they're assigned to the school district, and that includes benefits and any overtime incurred.
Thank you very much.
Anybody else? Yes.
Oh, just had a question. I was just wondering, I mean, being a teacher, and obviously with the climate we have today in America with school shootings, I mean, just out of control. I was just wondering, how do they allocate the officers? Would it be, if they had a second one, would there be one at the middle school, or is the high school the main focus?
I don't think that they've actually ironed that out yet.
Oh.
I think that they're in the process of updating their safety plans. That's why they wanted to reserve that second one as an option, because when they lay it all out, having that as an asset may play into that pretty well, but I'm not sure where that would be
Okay, I was just
allocated. Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, can I have a motion? Council Tesorio, Councilor Wilmot.
Council Corradino.
Yes.
Council DeMassey.
Yes.
Councilor Hill.
Yes.
Councilor Tesorero.
Yes.
Councilor Wilmot.
Yes.
Next item is also from the police chief. I am respectfully requesting permission to accept the donation of a ballistic vest for our K9, is that Citrix?
Crixus.
Crixus. This vest is being donated by Vested Interest in K9s Incorporated. This vest will help ensure the safety of Crixus. I would appreciate your consideration of this matter. Thank you. Chief?
Thanks again, Chairman. This is an organization that donates vests to law enforcement canines, and they're interested. The only thing that they're asking for us is if it gets approved, that we do a press release acknowledging that the vest was received as a donation, which I'm sure that the mayor would be more than happy to work with me on that.
Very good. Any questions? Seeing none, can I have a motion? Councilor Hill, Councilor Tesorio.
Councilor Corradino.
Yes.
Councilor DeMassey.
Yes.
Councilor Hill.
Yes.
Councilor Tesorero.
Yes.
Councilor Wilmot.
Yes.
Thank you, Chief. Next item, Mayor William J. Barlow Jr. requests authorization to sign a memorandum of understanding between the City of Oswego and County of Oswego, creating a partnership between the City of Oswego Department of Code Enforcement and Oswego County Department of Social Services. The MOU will ensure that any applicant for housing through Oswego County DSS is placed in a property in the City of Oswego that is compliant with all local laws and regulations, including the possession of a valid City of Oswego rental permit. The MOU dictates that the DSS employees will have access to the City of Oswego's Municity software and will use the software to verify the properties under consideration are code compliant and have a valid rental permit. Mayor?
Thank you, Chairman. To give you some of the context behind this conversation and this document, it really started last summer when I actually went on a code enforcement call with the code enforcement department over on East 2nd Street. And when we arrived at that particular property, we found that an individual was placed in that property by DSS, and that property at that time had no running water, no bathroom. The toilet was a bucket out in the backyard. It had no seals around the windows. It was simply a window placed in a frame. It had one outlet at the back of the house with an extension cord running through with surge protectors throughout the rest of the house. No heat, no air conditioning. So after talking to the person, I personally was just talking to the person to try to get the backstory and see how this could happen. And when I learned that he was actually placed there, I felt that something needed to be done. So we contacted DSS, and we worked together. We actually met out in Mexico at DSS and got a tour of the facility, learned about the services they offer. And after we learned about how their placement system works, we had a meeting out there on site with our code personnel. I attended, and DSS staff was there, and we talked about how we could really make the system better. And the fact was there really was no system in place to where DSS would know a quality property from a property that's not code compliant. They share the same vision and the same mentality that we shouldn't be placing people who need assistance into unsafe housing. So we talked about what sort of simple system we could put in place that doesn't speed down the placement of individuals, that does not slow down the placement of individuals in housing, but also make sure that when they are placed in housing, that the housing is safe, it's a fair price, and it's has a reputable, responsible landlord. So the system we came up with really was a simple system, and what we need to do is formalize that in a document, so that's why this MOU was created. And what this MOU essentially says is the City of Oswego will allow the folks out at DSS access to our Municity software, which you're all familiar with, as we document our code violations. We do our follow-ups through the code process where we can see where that code violation is in the system. So they will have access to that software. They'll be able to see it in real time. We've already been out there and trained their staff on how to do it, and at the same time, DSS agrees that they will, when they go to place somebody, they will check and make sure that that property has a City of Oswego rental permit and is code compliant. And as you know, to get the rental permit, the landlord has to sign an affidavit saying their property is code compliant, but also has to be current on taxes. So not only can you look at this as the safety aspect, looking out for the general welfare of individuals who need assistance, but also we're really putting in place a system to where a landlord who owes the city money and does not have a clean tax check isn't receiving payment in the form of subsidized taxpayer money from county DSS. So really it's mutually beneficial coming from those two different aspects. And again, I just want to thank Chairman Shane Broadwell, who has helped me on the county side, DSS Commissioner Stacy Alvord for making her staff and her facility open to the City of Oswego, and she has been a tremendous help to me and supportive of what we're doing here in the city, not only in code enforcement, but several other issues that we'll be talking about in the future. So I just really appreciate that the county's helping us execute our vision here in the city as we work to revitalize neighborhoods, fix the exterior of rental properties, and stand up for tenants and tenants' rights and make sure that people are being treated fairly and are provided safe housing like landlords are obligated to do when they agree to take in individuals from DSS, HUD, and other agencies. So I would recommend and appreciate your support on this, and happy to take any questions.
Any questions for the mayor?
No.
I mean, I see there's a question in the back corner.
I'm overwhelmed by this. This is a great idea. I'd just like to know who that I don't want to know his name. Okay? I don't need to know. But is this landlord notorious for the rest of his properties like this?
I can say
You
that
wanna answer that?
there's the specific house, folks probably wouldn't know on East 2nd, but there is a house that Councilor Hill's probably very familiar with. It's been on TV. It's painted green, and that house is a perfect example of how can somebody be placed in the property when it looks the way it
Does he
does.
have a reputation for
Yes.
doing-
Yeah.
for all his houses?
Oh yeah.
Shut him down. Shut him down.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Councilor Hill?
Yeah, I'll just piggyback on what the mayor said. Since I took office, I've been contacted by a constituent, one in particular, complaining about a certain house. And the greenhouse that he mentioned, it was on the news, in the media. The landlord notorious throughout the city. And, the house was deemed unsafe. They were supposed to leave the house, which I'm not sure if they did or not, but months later, the house is still rented. There are people in and out of the house, a lot of police presence, and it seemed like once every 3 days I would get a message from the neighbor, so I, reached out to code enforcement and the mayor, and they indicated that, they've done everything they can legally to essentially vacate the house, but tenants were being placed by the Department of Social Services. So when this agreement hit the media, I sent a copy of it over to this constituent, and she was just overjoyed because now we can take the steps to get the house vacated and to show the landlord that they can operate an unsafe house and still receive taxpayer-funded dollars. So totally for this. This is a great agreement, something we've needed, and looking forward to getting it signed and using it. So thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Councilor Tezzarari.
This is something that's been decades overdue. It's been gone too far. Nobody should have to live in the swallow that these people live in. And these landlords that, take advantage of the situation that has been allowed to happen. I'm proud to be part of the city of Oswego who's leading this charge to make decent housing, fair housing, safe housing for everybody that wants to live here. So I totally support this. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Well, I'll just piggyback also on him, that I'd like to commend you and the administration for doing this in a collaborative effort with the county. I would hope that some other communities in Oswego County would look at this as a model and say, maybe we should start doing that as well. So, again, kudos to you and the administration. Anybody else? Seeing none, can we have a motion? Councilor Hill, Councilor Wilmot.
Councilor Corradino.
Yes.
Councilor DeMassey.
Yes.
Councilor Hill.
Yes.
Councilor Tesserero.
Yes.
Councilor Wilmot.
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor. Next item. Attached is a resolution to be presented to the full Common Council for the confirmation of the 2018 assessment roll for the city of Oswego. Sue Deary was the one that presented this. As you can see in your attachment, it's the 2018 final roll. She did reach out to me earlier today. She is unable to be here today, but this is, as Councilor Gozick will know, since we've been here the longest, that this is standard operating procedure, that the final assessment roll is the first step in working on the taxes for 2019. So this is just standard business where the state requires this as the first step. Any questions in regards to this? Seeing none, can I have a motion? Councilor DeMassey, Councilor Hill.
Councilor Corradino.
Yes.
Councilor DeMassey.
Yes.
Councilor Hill.
Yes.
Councilor Tesserero.
Yes.
Councilor Wilmot.
Yes.
Next item, Deborah Coate, City Chamberlain, is requesting authorization to transfer $23,700 from the Water Fund Contingent Account F.1990.0460 to F.8320.200 Water, Power, and Pump for the purchase of 3 inserter valves. Mrs. Coate?
Thank you, Counselor. This was for the emergency purchase of these valves to fix places like 6 and Utica West.
Very good. Any comments, questions, concerns? Seeing none, can I have a motion? Councilor Hill, Councilor Tezzarero.
Councilor Corradino.
Yes.
Councilor DeMassey.
Yes.
Councilor Hill.
Yes.
Councilor Tesserero.
Yes.
Councilor Wilmot.
Yes.
Next item, the Office of Economic Development has successfully secured grant funding for several projects for the city of Oswego under the direction and leadership of Mayor Barlow. In order to successfully begin and complete the project, the Common Council needs to authorize the City Chamberlain to secure bond financing for 7 capital improvement projects that will have a positive impact for the community in terms of improving the quality of life and enhance recreational activities, tourism, and economic development. The Office of Economic Development is looking for financing as follows. And I'm not sure what's listed there. but can I just abbreviate the 7 projects? First of all, the total grant award for these projects is $3,959,375. The total cost for the capital improvement projects is $5,725,073, plus the 10% contingency brings the total bond financing requested just under $6.3 million at $6,297,580. The purpose of seeking the authorization for bond financing is that the awarded grants are reimbursable upon project completion. The city has to finance the entire $6,297,580 and will be reimbursed $3,959,375 upon project completion of the 7 total projects. And I'll just run down the 7 projects real quick, because I'm sure you'll explain them in more detail, Mayor. West Side Waterfront Enhancement, the DRI Downtown Oswego Complete Streets Project, the DRI Riverfront Enhancement in Pocket Park, SAM, which is Dasney Barclay Lighthouse Renovation, the Sam Dasney Ritchie Park Improvement and Animal Control Shelter, the Animal Control Shelter Project, and the Oswego City Hall Preservation Project. Those are the 7. Mayor, would you like to expand on all those?
Sure, thank you, Chairman. Really, first, what this is it's really a preliminary resolution that I'm hoping you'll approve next Monday. It's not the last time you're going to see communication with this bond language in there, because once we, really all you're doing tonight and next week is giving the City Chamberlain permission to go to our bond council and seek out the $6.3 million bond. At that point, the bond council will do that. A bond resolution will determine the amount, and then once we get that amount, we have to come back. We have to actually publicize that for 20 days, and then we'll have to come back to get official permission again. So the projects you mentioned, first, I'll say we're looking at potentially a 5-year bond. The interest rate usually is 1.3 to 1.5%, just so you have that in your notes. And this account will be for all the projects you mentioned. The West Side Waterfront Enhancement Project, that's the grant we won in 2016 for $590,000. Our match is $590,000, so that's 1.1. That's the Harbor Trail project that we're doing, the Marina Fuel System, the River Dock, the Lighthouse Restoration, and the Splash Park. It funds the $1.5 million Complete Streets project. That is a $1 million grant in our DRI and a $500,000 federal transportation TAP grant. It involves funding for the $680,000 Pocket Park in our DRI, $100,000 for the Lighthouse renovation project from Assemblyman Barclay, $100,000 for the Park Improvements and Animal Control Shelter grant from Senator Ritchie, $652,000 for the Animal Control Shelter project we won a few months ago from Governor Cuomo. That's a $489,000 grant. It requires the $163,000 match. And the Oswego City Hall Preservation Project, which was a $500,000 grant. The city match is just over $1 million. So all of we have to front the grant money we won to be reimbursed, but what we're saying is in order to front that money, it's going to require a bond. I would not expect the final number to be that $6,297,000 figure you're seeing, because what we will do in the meantime, you're just giving Deb permission to go to the bond council tonight and next week. In the meantime, we are going to go in and look at each project individually and see what we can take out. The reason we're doing that is because we won't have to bond for the projects that we'll have completed in the short term. We can front that money on our own and avoid having to bond, so which we would obviously prefer to do. So if you look at the list of projects, again, projects like Harbor Trail is going to be done by Harbor Fest. We can take that out. The Oswego River Dock is going to be done in September. We can probably take that out. The DRI Complete Streets 104, $1.5 million, that's going to be done by the end of the year, so we'll probably be able to take that out. And same with the Pocket Park will be done hopefully by the end of October, so we'll be able to take that out. So right there, without going into too much detail, you can see that in a perfect scenario, we'll be able to take some of this out, but I think it's proactive, conservative, and a bit generous to allow her to go out and get, see what's out there for this large amount, knowing that moving forward, really that'll be, I don't want to say worst case scenario, but that's potentially the absolute maximum amount. It can only get better from there. So this is really a conservative approach, proactive, and it makes sure that we keep the timeline going for all these grants, and we don't slow anything down with paperwork or anything on our side. I will say the finances of the city and the way we've been planning the city over the last few years, we have the ability to do this, thankfully, and quite frankly, I think this is a good issue to have to go bond because you won so much grant money. I always say 18 million in the first 2.5 years, 10 of that's the DRI, which about 2.5 of the DRI is in here between Complete Streets and the Pocket Park. The other projects we won on separate grants that weren't in the DRI. So it's a good problem to have. It's a sign that we're actually getting things done and it's not just talk. I know some people like to, say that we win grants and do studies and everything else and nothing happens, but this is where, the rubber meets the road and we're going to bond for the money to get these projects moving and start spending the money. And we already have started spending money and got these projects going. So it's just time to pony up, if you will.
All right, thank you. Any comments or questions for the mayor? Oh, Councilor Gozick.
Oh, I had one question. I have obviously been a part of the council the last 3 years. I'm really glad to see a lot of these projects hopefully coming to fruition here in the next couple of years, and I applaud the mayor and his administration. Again, among all these, they're going to do so much to enhance the city for so many different reasons, as has already been pointed out. But I was just interested with the City Hall Preservation Project. What is it? Is there a timeline on that? Would that be a couple of years, or would that be like, with the work we need to do here for this?
So just based on what I know in dealing with the grants we've won the first 2 years, we were awarded that grant. It just announced that we won that grant in December. So generally, it's going to take, just to get the project even started, to get the paperwork started with the state, will take us into this winter, and we'll be looking at actually doing some physical work, hopefully later next year.
Because there's some serious structural damage right now. I mean, obviously with like parts of the third floor being closed. I just had one request though. If possible, when they do it, maybe they could add some fans or air conditioning, or maybe just so we could open the windows. They look so nice, but maybe that's why we get this, so we can open the windows up here on the second floor. But thank you.
Yep.
Anybody else? Seeing, another question or comment from the corner?
About time a mayor finally got active around here. The last two didn't like to do anything. Take it as a comment.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Okay, can I have a motion? Councilor Tesorerio, Councilor DeMassey.
Councilor Corradino.
Yes.
Councilor DeMassey.
Yes.
Councilor Hill.
Yes.
Councilor Tesorero.
Yes.
Councilor Wilmot.
Yes.
And we need a resolution.
Need a resolution. I'm sure the mayor's office will do that. Thank you, Mayor. Next item, Fire Chief Randall B. Griffin is requesting permission to send one personnel to the required first-line supervisory training program at Fort Taunton, located in Queens, New York. The dates of the required training are as follows: July 29, 2018 to August 24, 2018. Funds are budgeted in account A.3410.0460. Is the chief here? I don't see the chief. Well, this is pretty standard.
What?
No?
That's Tory.
No, that's wrong.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was looking at the next one. I'm sorry. I was looking at the next item.
We have
Sorry.
several chiefs, but no Indians here.
It's in the budget.
I was looking at
It's a no-brainer.
Nancy, would you like to chime in here?
This is a state law. When we promote someone to first-line supervisor, they have to have this training. In the only place in New York State that they teach it is in Queens. So we don't have, it's not a big choice, but you have to do it.
It's required. Okay. Well, that's pretty cut and dry right there, I think. Anybody else have any comments? Seeing none, can I have a motion? Councilor Hill, Councilor Wilmot.
Counselor Corradino.
Yes.
Counselor DeMassey.
Yes.
Counselor Hill.
Yes.
Counselor Tesoriero.
Yes.
Counselor Wilmot.
Yes. Okay, there it goes. Next item is from Chief DeCare, requesting permission to send 3 police officers to the New York Police Juvenile Officers Association Annual Training Conference. This conference is being held in Binghamton, New York, from August 27th through the 31st. This conference will refine skills from the basic school resource officer course and practical experience that officers have already obtained. Students will be given the opportunity to collaborate with other students to improve their own individual performance in their programs, as well as helping them find solutions to problems they may be encountering. The cost involved in this training will include $825 for registration, $279 for meal reimbursement, $1949 for lodging, which does include breakfast and lunch daily. The cost for replacement overtime is approximately $1,600. The cost for traveler overtime is approximately $400. The funds for registration, lodging, and meal reimbursement totaling $3,053 are available in account number A.3120.0460. The funds for replacement overtime and traveler overtime totaling $1,800 are available in account A.3120.0102. Chief, would you like to add to that?
Just really quick, I think that pretty much covers it, but what we're actually looking at are 3 different training courses for 3 different of my personnel. One is an advanced course for the current school resource officer. One is to certify one of our juvenile officers as a school resource officer, sort of kind of following up on what we already had talked about earlier. And then finally is to certify one of my current investigators as a juvenile officer, and that is really in response to the upcoming Raise the Age legislation that will be moving the 16 and 17-year-olds from the adult system to the juvenile system. So we wanted to get them trained up to speed before that comes to fruition here in October.
All right, very good. Any questions for the chief? Seeing none, can I have a motion? Councilor Tesorio, Councilor DeMassey.
Counselor Corradino.
Yes.
Counselor DeMassey.
Yes.
Counselor Hill.
Yes.
Counselor Tesoriero.
Yes.
Counselor Wilmot.
Yes. I thought we were done, but possibly we're not.
No, city attorney has a curveball to throw, but it's a hanging curve.
Hang on.
Yeah. I am requesting the council's consideration and the committee, this particular committee, in going into an executive session. I know it's not in your packets. This is a matter that came up relatively quickly at the end of last week after the packets were prepared. So I do apologize and take full responsibility. This involves property located at 375 Mitchell Street and 305 East Seneca Street. I do have a request, and I'm happy to provide that to all council, but I would perhaps suggest for time purposes that we recess this committee meeting and then reopen it to go into executive session after the other committee meetings are over, if that's the pleasure of the council. But I would strongly urge this. This is a matter of timing. I'm not recommending that we make any decisions on this tonight. This would, but instead of kind of having it and waiving the rules and doing all of that stuff that we're loath to do next week, I'd rather we discuss it tonight, take the week to consider it, and then perhaps take it up formally next week.
Very good. I think that we probably will do that. Your advice, I think, is probably sound. We'll go into recess for this committee, continue on with the other committee meetings, and at the end, we'll go to executive session. So do I have a motion to recess? Councilor Tesorio, Councilor DeMassey.
Counselor Corradino.
Yes.
Counselor DeMassey.
Yes.
Counselor Hill.
Yes.
Counselor Tesoriero.
Yes.
Counselor Wilmot.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to call the Physical Services Committee meeting for July 2nd, 2018 to order. Please call the roll.
Counselor Hill.
Here.
Counselor Wilmot.
Yes.
Counselor DeMassey.
Here.
Counselor Gozick.
Here.
Could I please have a motion to approve the minutes of the June 18th, 2018 committee meeting? Counselor DeMassey, Counselor Wilmot.
Counselor Hill.
Yes.
Counselor Wilmot.
Yes.
Counselor DeMassey.
Yes.
Counselor Gozick.
Yes.
Is there any old business to come before this committee? Seeing none, we'll move on to new business under communications. The engineering department received a request from Ronald Castaldo, owner of a single-family dwelling at 48 West Van Buren Street, located in the First Ward, for proposed use of public space for a 10-foot 6-inch by 20-foot 6-inch new porch with second-story open deck between the sidewalk and right-of-way fronting West Van Buren Street. Mr. Castaldo, are you here to speak?
I'm requesting public space to add on to an existing porch and come out 5 extra feet. And it will leave 6 feet to the sidewalk. That's what I'm asking for.
I have spoken to Mr. Johnson in the engineering office, and he indicated that he saw nothing out of the ordinary with the request, and I also did check with Councilor McBurney to see if she had any concerns with the request, and she said no as well. Are there any questions from the public? Okay, could I have a motion, please? Councilor DeMassey, Councilor Gozick.
Counselor Hill.
Yes.
Counselor Wilmot.
Yes.
Counselor DeMassey.
Yes.
Counselor Gozick.
Yes.
Okay, next item. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The engineering department received a request from Richard Bateman, owner of a single-family dwelling at 21 West 5th Street, located in the First Ward, for proposed use of public space for an 8-foot by 17-foot, one-car parking area finished with turf stone between the curb and sidewalk fronting West 5th Street. Is there anyone here to speak to this request? Again, I did reach out to Mr. Johnson in the engineering department, and he indicated that this was a relatively routine request. He saw no issues. And again, I also reached out to Councilor McBurney, and she expressed her support for the project as well. So, any questions? Councilor?
I'm not that familiar with West Fifth Street, but there currently are other homes on that block that are using this kind of public space?
Yes.
Actually, the property right next door, at 23, has also used turf stone, and it's been, well, took a rough, pretty big hit with the work that National Grid did last year, but they're working on getting that back up in green. It's usually green by the end of spring.
There were no problems or issues during the winter months. I remember approving another one of those on West Fifth Street. The width of 8 foot doesn't allow much room for snow load. You know, a car is basically 6.5 feet wide, and this area is 8 foot wide by 17 long. And I'm just curious that the existing spots that had this, there were no issues with plows hitting cars or any other damages? Because like I said, when you have 8 foot wide parking space and you've got a 6.5 foot car, that only leaves about a foot. Well, if it's evenly spaced, it leaves about a foot or less on each side of the car between the curb and the sidewalk.
We have not had any issues
Okay.
with snow removal. And I mean, you mean in terms of damage to vehicles, or no? We haven't had any issues at all.
Okay. Thank you. That's all I got.
Councilor DeMassey.
Will you have Counselor McBurney turn on your mic for the record, please? There you go.
That's not working. Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry, what
You're
did you
welcome. That was all I had.
Okay.
I'm trying to help Mike out.
Thank you for pointing that out. I appreciate it.
Can't tell. All right. Any other questions from the public? Okay, could I take a motion, please? Councilor DeMassey, Councilor Gozick.
Counselor Hill.
Yes.
Counselor Wilmot.
Yes.
Counselor DeMassey.
Yes.
Counselor Gozick.
Yes.
The next item, the engineering department received a request from Tammy McDonald, owner of a single-family dwelling at 216 East 11th Street, located in the 4th Ward, for proposed use of public space, 7 foot 1 inch, 12 foot 1 inch, and 61 foot and 47 foot 1 inch to install a new 4-foot high fence between the sidewalk and right-of-way fronting East 11th and Catherine Streets. Is there anyone to speak to this? Okay, once again, I did reach out to Mr. Johnson in the engineering department. He had no concerns with the request. Councilor Wilmot, do you have any issues with this request?
No.
Thank you. Anyone have any questions? Okay, can I take a motion, please? Counselor DeMassey, Counselor Wilmot.
Counselor Hill.
Yes.
Counselor Wilmot.
Yes.
Counselor DeMassey.
Yes.
Counselor Gozick.
Yes.
All right, the next item. The Engineering Department received a request from the Oswego Elks Club, number 271, owner of 132 West 5th Street, located in the 3rd Ward, for proposed use of public space to remove the existing monument with a new enhanced bronze elk monument between the sidewalk and right-of-way fronting West 5th Street. Is there anyone here to speak to this? Okay. Once again, Mr. Johnson actually reached out to me about this request. We originally did not realize that the elk that sits by the building was on public space. He corrected that and contacted the representative at the Elks. He showed the plans, the design. It's a beautiful statue. It will replace the existing statue in the same spot. And the Elks does a lot of good in the community, and I would recommend that we support this. Any questions? Okay, could I take a motion, please? Counselor Gozick, Counselor DeMassey.
Counselor Hill.
Yes.
Counselor Wilmot.
Yes.
Counselor DeMassey.
Yes.
Counselor Gozick.
Yes.
Next item, the Engineering Department received a request. I'm sorry, I skipped one. Robert McGrath, owner of the Clubhouse Tavern and Spencer's Alley, located at 124 to 126 West 2nd Street, is requesting use of 5 parking spaces in front of his establishment on Sunday, July 29, 2018, from 3 p.m. until 8 p.m. as part of a fundraiser for Move Along Incorporated. Mr. McGrath?
Yes, Move Along is a organization that helps people with physical limitations, and what they want to do with these 5 parking spaces is exhibit the equipment that someone with a limitation could use to kayak, play basketball, play tennis, golf, so on and so forth. It's a good organization. It was founded by someone who had an accident back in 2009, Greg Callan, and he's moved into this organization, and it's a good cause. I will clean up afterwards. You'll never know they were there by 8 o'clock at night, so if
And this-
approved, that's what we're going to use the spaces for.
And this is the Sunday of Harbor Fest?
Yes.
But that day typically doesn't require the level of parking and
No.
traffic as the other days.
Mm-mm.
So, are there any questions? Counselor DeMassey?
I fully support it. They do great things for the community, and Greg's done a lot to help others, so I think it's great.
Counselor?
I know that you've done some other fundraisers in the past for other organizations.
We have a fundraiser the day before for the United Way. I clean up after that. The parking's open by 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It really doesn't interfere with much during that weekend.
Well, basically, that's what I was about to say, was that I know in past practice, he's done an excellent job, and it's like it never happened. So I fully support that. It's a great cause.
Thank you.
Thanks for doing it.
Counselor Kissaria?
I fully support this. Robert's done a wonderful job down there with supporting the community, and Mr. Callan is also leading a charge for these people, and he's been before us before in other boards, so I fully support it.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, could I have a motion, please? Counselor DeMassey, Counselor Wilmot.
Counselor Hill.
Yes.
Counselor Wilmot.
Yes.
Counselor DeMassey.
Yes.
Counselor Gozick.
Yes.
Next item, the Engineering Department received a request from Jessica LeGray, owner of a single-family dwelling at 171 East 11th Street, located in the 2nd Ward, for proposed use of public space, 18-foot by 34-foot, new block retaining wall, and new driveway for 3-car parking between the sidewalk and right-of-way, as well as an 11-foot by 13-foot new apron between the curb and the sidewalk fronting East Bridge Street. Is someone here to speak to this? Just please state your name.
Hi, I'm Jessica. Prior was LeGray, but now I'm married name. We've lived in our home about 5 years, and we had a retaining wall that was there that was very unsafe. So we plan to expand this and revamp the whole thing. We live in the school area, so a lot of children walk by our house a lot. So we want it to be a lot safer for our kids and for the people that walk by.
Okay. Counselor DeMassey.
I fully support it. They're doing a great job, and, it'll be fantastic when they get it finished. The only thing I suggest, which I've already talked to them, is to make sure that they have a fence above it for the neighbors behind, so somebody can't back off that retaining wall.
Okay.
And they agreed, they had already planned that anyways.
Yeah, there used to be a fence there, and it was very unstable also, just like the retaining wall. And it actually had fallen partially over, so we removed that, and we're going to put a new one up.
Excellent. Any other questions, concerns? Okay, could I take a motion, please? Counselor DeMassey, Counselor Gozick.
Counselor Hill.
Yes.
Counselor Wilmot.
Yes.
Counselor DeMassey.
Yes.
Counselor Gozick.
Yes.
And the final item, Justin Rudgick, Community Development Director, received a request from Paul Lear regarding the Revolutionary War reenactment event to take place Saturday, August 25th, 2018. They will march from the Richardson Bates House on East 3rd Street to Washington Square Park and continue on East 4th Street to Fort Ontario. Mr. Lear is requesting use of public space at Washington Square Park, temporary road closures with temporary traffic stop at the following intersections: Route 104 and East 4th Streets, East Mohawk and East Oneida Street, and East Cuga and East Seneca Streets. And in speaking with Mr. Rudgick before the meeting, they will not need actual road closures. They'll just have on-duty police escort them and help them through the intersections. So it will be less of a requirement on the part of the city. Do you have anything you'd like to add?
I think it's a great event, to reenact our history and to go through it to the board. I think this is something that kind of unique to our community, since we do have a board that supported.
Excellent. Any questions, comments? Councilor Gozick.
Yeah, I'd just piggyback on that and say, you know, I've been going to Fort Ontario for years, and since Paul Lear's been here, I don't know how long it's been now, maybe 15, 20 years, what he's done with the fort, even with the budget cuts, and came back in 2008, the reenactments. I mean, they even had more before the budget cuts, but Paul's done a great job really revitalizing the fort and bringing history to life, and I just want to commend him for everything he's done for this community, because it's amazing. It's a great treasure for Oswego, and I'm all in favor of this, obviously.
Thank you. Any other questions?
I second
Councilor
that.
DeMassey. All right, could I take a motion, please? Councilor Gozick, Councilor DeMassey.
Counselor Hill.
Yes.
Counselor Wilmot.
Yes.
Counselor DeMassey.
Yes.
Counselor Gozick.
Yes.
Okay, is there any other business to come before this committee? Seeing none, I will take a motion to adjourn. Councilor Gozick, Councilor DeMassey.
Counselor Hill.
Yes.
Counselor Wilmot.
Yes.
Counselor DeMassey.
Yes.
Counselor Gozick.
Yes.
At this time, I'd like to call the Planning and Development Committee meeting of July 2nd, 2018 to order. Could we call the roll, please?
Counselor Tesoriero.
Here.
Counselor Corradino.
Here.
Counselor McBurney.
Here.
Can I get a motion to approve the minutes of the June 18th, 2018 committee meeting?
Make a motion?
Councilor Cordino, Councilor McBurney.
Counselor Tesoriero.
Yes.
Counselor Corradino.
Yes.
Counselor McBurney.
Yes.
Is there any old business to come before this committee? I see none. We'll go to communication. Mark Tesoriero of City Clerk requests authorization to issue food vendor permits to vendors which do not operate at a fixed location, such as ice cream trucks and hot dog carts. Would you like to speak, Mark?
Sure. So right now, the food vendor ordinance that was passed, I think it was last year, somebody came in to get a license for a ice cream truck, but one of the parts of the license is you have to pick a specific place as we designate. So this is one of the things that got overlooked because they just want to be mobile and stop when somebody needs service. So we're thinking also, you know, hot dog carts and that type of thing. So we'll modify this. It does say that the council can modify the rule, so we're just asking to have it modified so we can get their $1,000 and have them be legal.
So exactly what we're doing here, we're modifying
An existing agreement.
Yeah, existing, okay. Can I get a motion to modify? Councilor McBurney, Councilor Cordino.
Counselor Tesoriero.
Abstain.
Counselor Corradino.
Yes.
Counselor McBurney.
Yes.
I see there's...
We need a resolution.
Need a resolution? Need a resolution, see no other business, can I get a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion?
Councilor Cordino, Councilor McBurney.
Counselor Tesoriero.
Yes.
Counselor Corradino.
Yes.
Counselor McBurney.
Yes.
Yeah, we're done.
What about Kevin's thing?
Okay. At this time, I want to come out of recess for administrative services. Can I have a motion? Counselor Hill, Counselor DeMassey.
Counselor Corradino.
Yes.
Counselor DeMassey.
Yes.
Counselor Hill.
Yes.
Counselor Tesoriero.
Yes.
Counselor Wilmot.
Yes. At this time, I'd like to go into executive session per the recommendation of the city attorney. Like a motion? Counselor Hill? Counselor Tezzarari?
Counselor Corradino.
Yes.
Counselor DeMassey.
Yes.
Counselor Hill.
Yes.
Counselor Testerero.
Yes.
Counselor Wilmot.
Yes. Thank you.